Hi beauties, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Jacob. I'm a makeup enthusiast here on YouTube. Today's video, I wanted to get up as soon as possible, but with it being the holidays, I did have to sit on this for a few days. But without further ado, I wanted to jump straight into the Sugarpill x Trixie Mattel Oh Honey Part 2 collection. I did order the palette along with the lip gloss that came in this beautiful collector's box right here. I wanted to get this video up because I am super excited to dive right into this palette. It is a 6-pan eyeshadow palette with one big blush. The blush does look to be a shimmery blush as opposed to the first collection that just had a matte blush. And then there are 3 mattes and 3 shimmer eyeshadows. I'm going to jump straight into the looks. I think I'm going to do 3 looks for this video. I want to just do one eye, and then clear that off, and then I'll come back and do a full face with the 3rd look. So let's get right into it. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you guys would like, comment, and subscribe down below. But yeah, let's get straight into this video, guys. I am super excited. So before we jump into the eye looks, this is the lip gloss that comes with this collection. It's like a sheer shimmery gold or white gold. It does seem to have a pink reflect, but I'm not sure if that's just in the packaging. And it is called Sugar Coat. So we will be using this in the video today. And then I am gonna do some swatches of the palette just because there's only 7 things to swatch, so it should be pretty quick. I did wanna mention that my palette did come with like a dig in it in the black shade Buzz Off.
I'm not sure if that is why, I'm not sure if it's gonna pick up on here, maybe, yeah. See how like the box is kind of gold? I don't know if that's like this eyeshadow or if that's how the box is supposed to look.
I'm gonna jump straight into the swatches here.
I'm gonna move over so that you can kind of see better. Sorry if you're distracted by my cat moving there. I'm gonna put this right up here so the mirror's not there.
I'm gonna start right here with this purple shade. This is called Drip Drip.
Ooh, that's pretty. So that is Drip Drip.
I'm gonna go with my pinky. This is called Sting.
Put that there, beautiful. Ooh, I love a red like that.
Okay, the next shade I'm gonna dive into is this one right here. These are so soft and buttery. This is called Bumble.
Ooh.
You guys, if you have not tried the Sugarpill formula, the mattes are definitely where it's at. But I will say, as far as the collections that I've gotten, I've only gotten the Sugarpill Trixie collection, this Sugarpill Trixie collection, and the, what was it called? The little twin stars. I'm gonna go into Buzz Off. I did clean off my fingers. Sorry I didn't show you, but I did. So this is the shade that had a little bit of, oh,
the camera's not doing it justice, guys, but wow, it's got like a green and a yellow shimmer in it. That's so pretty. So I'm gonna clean off my finger.
Next shade is gonna be Queen. What I was saying is that the shimmers in the single, ooh, buttery, buttery, buttery. This one was a little bit more dry of a shimmer, but I really did expect it just to be like a matte black with sparkle in it. I want to do a smoky eye with this, I think. This one's a lot more buttery. What I was saying was that the collections that I've gotten, the little twin stars was more of a highlighting palette, in my opinion, not very much an eyeshadow palette for me, which is why I depotted it. The Trixie Mattel shimmers are buttery and smooth and very impactful, while I'm not going to say that all of them aren't, but the singles of the Sugarpill that I do have, their shimmers vary. Like, some of the shimmers are really great and really buttery and smooth, and some of them are like dry mattes with shimmer in them, and they don't do too well on the lid. So for the last eyeshadow, we're going to go into the orange that's called Hive Mind. And again, just a nice buttery, smooth formula. Ooh! So these are the eyeshadows swatched all together. And then I am gonna swatch the blush. And the blush is called Royal Flush.
Yeah, very like, oh, that is stunning. It's pink and it's got a beautiful like fuchsia and gold shimmer to it. Oh, I love this.
Alrighty, so beauties, this is the palette all swatched out on my arm. And like I said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump into one eye, then we'll do the other eye, then I'll clean those off and we'll do a final look. Let's jump straight into the eyeshadow looks. We're starting out with this eye, and I already have it primed with my NYX Proof It Waterproof Eyeshadow Primer. And I think to start, I wanna go in with the mid shade, I guess you would call it, the Bumble shade right here. Sorry if you couldn't see that right here. I'm going in with this shade. I am taking this domed fluffy blending brush that I got in an Amazon set. I already have some of the shade Bumble on there. And I'm going to start by tapping that in the middle of my crease and just bringing it to the outer V. Just tapping where I want it right now. And then once I like where it's placed, I'll start to blend it up into my brow. Just keeping it right there in the middle and then dragging it out. I'm gonna take this pointed fluffy blending brush from another Amazon set. I'm gonna tap into Sting, picking that up. I wanna take that directly under Bumble down onto my mobile lid, but still keeping it in the outer V and just blending up into that crease where we have that first shade. And I am just gonna start to blend it up slightly to get that winged shape that I like, and then back into the crease, just to keep it controlled there in the outer V. I will say everything is blending really great. That is not a surprise. Sugarpill mattes always are so pigmented and buttery feeling, and then they just blend like a dream. I will mention though that I don't see anything I can really use as an inner corner highlight or a brow bone highlight from this palette. It is pretty deep, so I'll probably have to grab something from my singles for that, but we'll get there when we get there. Next, I'm gonna take this Real Techniques Salmon Nick base shadow brush. It's kind of like a fluffy but pinched blending brush. I'm gonna take Hive Mind with this brush, and I'm going to stick that into this front half of my crease and into my inner corner. So I love this kind of like mac and cheese color. And so far it's been about, I would say, 2 layers of each shade to get the color pigmentation where I wanted it. And then, yeah, everything is just blending out really great. And I'm gonna blend the shade Hive Mind into Bumble right here. I do love that this one has more color than the first collection did. It is mainly just like, as far as the mattes, they're brown warm tone mattes. Mainly just neutrals though. And then the shimmers are the pops of color in some pinky hues and a goldeny yellow. Ooh, maybe I'll grab that for my inner corner. Going back in with my first brush, not picking up any more product, just to start to blend this up and into these other 2 shades really well. And I kind of just scratch at this, like back and forth. I'm not doing circular motions, just back and forth really lightly. Okay, picking up a little bit more of the shade Bumble. Now I'm just doing slow circular motions. And scratching again. Maybe it's like a mix of both. Slow circular motions, scratching. Slow circular motions, scratching. Going back into the shade Sting, I am gonna pick a little bit more up on my brush. Really wanna deepen up this V. Again, just scratching that up into the crease. Oh, that just beautiful. It blended beautifully. Going back in with my first brush, no additional product, just to blend this further. And then I am gonna just start to take it straight up into my brow. And then I am just gonna scratch over the top of Bumble with this brush just to really make sure I've got the best blend that I can. But I think that is looking pretty darn good. So that is pretty much the crease done. Like I said, I am going to jump into the first Trixie Mattel X Sugarpill Oh Honey palette. And again, I'm gonna take this shade right here called Oh Honey. And that will be my brow bone and possibly the base to my inner corner highlight today. I'm gonna grab this ColourPop E3 brush. Rude. She is definitely pigmented. I'm gonna take the other side of the brush just to try to blend this out.
Because I think I picked up a little bit too much on my brush there.
Grabbing the blending brush with Bumble on it. And then the shade with Hive Mind on it. Yeah, just need to watch how much you're putting on your brush before you pack that on as a brow bone highlight, because mama, she's there. I think I'm also gonna take this paintbrush, just a clean brush, and I'm gonna use that to blend this brow bone further because it's just looking a little bit too stark to me. Yeah, there we go. Again, still impactful, but I'm gonna take a little bit more of Hive Mind. Starting in my inner corner, just so that most of the pigment will go there. And again, we're just gonna blend up into that brow bone highlight. And the Bumble brush, but no additional product. When I tell you guys I could blend for days and I would still not be satisfied, I'm not joking. Going back into that brush, I'm not putting any additional product on it. I'm just gonna tap what I have left right there in the inner corner, just as a base start. Now I'm going to take my NYX glitter glue, and I'm gonna take this GLMR shadow brush in medium. And I have been doing a faux cut crease the past few makeup looks, so for the next 2 looks, I think I'm gonna switch it up. Now for shimmer, I'm gonna take this brush that I got in an Amazon set, and I do want to try, I think, the Queen shade, maybe a little bit of the purple, but mainly just the Queen shade.
Not really a gold girl. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, that is gorgeous. Taking another dab just to get the rest of it. And going up. I like to apply most of the pigment on my mobile lid for a faux cut crease and then just tap it up into where the cut should be. I don't know. I do really want to use the drip drip shade, but I just don't know if it'll go with this. I think I'm gonna save that for the next look. So just gonna blend Queen into the Sting shade. Go back in with the brush that has Sting on it and then just blend further. Picked up a little bit more just to really dab onto the edge of these two.
There we go. Yeah. That's beautiful.
And then lastly, I am going to take, I was gonna dive back into the first Oh Honey palette, but I think instead I'm gonna use one of my singles from Magical Makeup. This is Aurora Nude pigment, and I've just pressed it into a pan. Picking that up with the brush that had Oh Honey on it. Just gonna, boop, boop. Okay, I am gonna spritz it. And again, just tapping that up into my crease how I like to. There we go. And just blend that down onto the shade Queen. So this is the first look using the Oh Honey Part 2. And now we are going to jump into this eye. Okay, beauties. So prepped, ready. I'm going to jump first into the shade Drip Drip, which is the purple shimmer that I did not use in this first look. This flat brush from a set that I got on Amazon. There we go. Okay. So what I'm thinking about doing, putting this all over the lid and then basically doing like a purple smoky eye with this Sting and maybe adding Bumble in. And then of course, if it was a full face look, I might even like start to try to do a blush draping with the Royal Flush off of Bumble, but that's just what I'm envisioning. So let's see what turns out. Keep in mind, I do not have my glitter glue down. This is just the Waterproof It eyeshadow primer. So, oh, and I didn't spray this brush, which is My bad.
I'm gonna pick up a second layer now. And I am going to spray my brush.
So you can see I'm kind of just tapping it where I want it. I'm not bringing it up into my crease yet, just on the mobile lid right now. It's very pretty. So now I'm going up into the crease. I'm not taking it onto the outer or the inner V yet, just in the center crease, because I want to save space for the matte shades that I'm going to use to smoke this shimmer out.
Okay.
So I feel like that is where I like it. It kind of looks like a little volcano or a mountain on my eyeball. I'm going to take the brush that I used in this first look that had the shade Sting on it, and I'm going to clean it off as best as I can. Yeah, there. So there's really not a whole lot on there. And I'm going to dip into drip with it. And I'm going to just start to try to blend with it now. In the inner and the outer V, as well as on that crease line. And I am just going in little tiny circles for this blend. I'm not scratching, just little tiny circles. I don't want this to get too out of control before I've had the chance to actually do anything. Yeah, just getting it blended out a little bit. Again, just little tiny circles. I'm working slow. So this is pretty much what I've got done. I'm liking where it's at. The next thing that I'm going to do is take the brush that I have the shade Bumble on, clean that off, and I am going to pick up Sting. And I think I'm going to dab twice into Sting, once into Bumble, twice into Sting, once into Bumble, mixing that on my brush. I'm terrified now. Nope, we're going right in. Gonna tap it right here on the edge and then just work it up and around my eye as best as I can. Just tapping right now. It's cute. So just tap that around, twice into Sting, once into Bumble, twice into Sting, once into Bumble. I don't think I'm going to take this all the way into my inner corner, just keeping it in the crease right at the start of my brow. That's where I'll stop it. Now that I think I've got the color where I like it, I'm going to start to blend. So I picked up one dab of each on my brush now, and I'm just going to keep this into the outer V and just blending even further with that. So that's what I've got going on so far. I'm not mad at it. I definitely think that I need to reapply the shimmer, and I need something to further blend into the crease. What to do in the crease. So I think I am gonna pop Bumble into the crease above this, just to see if that will kind of help blend it. Gonna start right there on my brow where I like to blend up into the start of it. And I think that looks really good so far. Back into Bumble, taking it through the rest of my crease now just to blend. Try to diffuse any harsh lines that might appear. I like that already, yeah, I think that looks cute. Going back into my brush that I applied Drip Drip with, I'm gonna pick up some more of that shade and spritz my brush. And again, just gonna tap it. Everywhere that it already was, and I'm gonna blend it with the mattes that I've got going on in the outer V, like scratching back and forth, up and down. And then just tapping it on the rest of my lid. I think that looks pretty. For brow bone highlight, I will take my ColourPop, my ColourPop E3 brush. So I'm gonna use Oh Honey again. I tapped twice into the palette.
I'm telling you guys, it's just...
Going back in with Hive Mind. Just to blend that brow bone in. And again, I'm going to use it as the base for my inner corner there. But to top that, I'm going to use this pressed pigment, again from Magical Makeup. And this is the shade Mermaid Soul.
This is gonna blow you away. Ready?
And that is Mermaid Soul in the inner corner. And I kind of just took it, like, I don't know how to describe it. I connected it with my crease colors and just blended it down into my inner corner. So here is the second look using the Oh Honey Part 2 palette. So beauties, I'm gonna go ahead and get these taken off. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do my final look, and then, like I said, we'll get into the full face before we wrap up everything and my final thoughts. Alrighty, my beautiful, amazing, lovely angels of life. We're getting into the final look using the Oh Honey Part 2 palette. I'm going to be doing a look basically just focusing on the last shade that I haven't used yet, which is Buzz Off, that dark matte with green gold reflect in it. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a dark smoky eye and use some of my single shadows to smoke it out, make it pop. Getting started, I'm going to be using a Storybook Cosmetics shade from the Robin Hood palette, and it's called Merry Men. I'm going to be taking a domed fluffy blending brush from a Amazon brush set. I don't want to go too ham and heavy. I want to just map out where my Buzz Off shade from the palette is gonna stop. So this is the shape that I'm pretty much going for, a nice rounded smoky eye. It might get winged out later, but for right now I'm just gonna keep it rounded And again, I'm not taking it all the way into my inner corner. I'm stopping pretty much where I would start to blend the crease up into the brow. This is just like a nice froggy forest green color. So that's the first shade that I'm going to put down. The next shade I'm going to take is this lime green. It's almost like a neon. I'm going to take that on this ColourPop E1 blending brush, and that is going to be used to blend out the Merriman shade. And I'm going to start to pack that basically right over it on that line. Again, just making sure I'm mapping out where I want everything before I start to blend. This is a very like light lime green shade, so I'm not being stingy with how much I'm putting on my brush and packing over this initial shade, Merry Men. I am kind of just being sloppy with this, but again, it's because I want to map everything out before I get the blend going. Okay. So I think that's looking pretty much how I want it. To start the blend, we're going back in with that first brush that had the Merry Men shade on it, and I'm just gonna start, no additional product on the brush, and we're gonna blend this to oblivion. So I am starting to take the lime green shade and bring it into my crease, as well as blending the first shade Merry Men out into the front of my brow now. But it did take a little bit of finessing to get blended out where I wanted to. I'm not sure if that was just because I packed it on and then blended it out or what, but it ended up doing what I needed it to do. So just going in with the lime green shade now and blending everything else out up into my brow before I go ahead and add any of my shimmers. Okay, y'all, so I had to step away to blend this out because it was just I don't know if it's even giving now, but I feel like it looks better than it did. So we're just going to move right on into the main event of this look, which is the shade Buzz Off. I think I'm just going to pick it up with a flat shader brush. This is from Hip Dot, and I'm going to spritz my brush. You can kind of see the shimmer there. I don't know, maybe I should use a glue. Because this is more of a matte with, because the shade is more of a matte with a shimmer, I am going to take my Virane Pixie Epoxy as a tacky base, just to give that shimmer something to hold on to, because I don't want it to just be a matte black. Really hoping that you guys will be able to see the kind of dimension that it has, because when I swatched it, I did not expect it to look the way that it looked with that like green reflect that it had. You can definitely see the gold reflect in the pan, but when you swatch it, it definitely looks different, like almost duochrome-y with the sparkle. Just taking that brush, pick up a little bit more. Just like I did with Drip Drip, I am trying to deposit most of the pigment onto my mobile lid before I tap the excess up into the crease to meet where I put down those green shades. And I'm not taking it all the way into my inner corner because I am planning on adding an inner corner highlight. I do think that that Pixie Epoxy definitely is helping to grab hold of the sparkle. So glad that I used that first. And keep in mind, I did not spray my brush. I just used that Pixie Epoxy. And I am happy to report it doesn't look like this is just some kind of weird overspray on the shadow. The sparkle definitely runs all the way through the pan. Just kind of blending here on my outer V. At least the best that I can. I'm not trying to scratch too much because, again, I don't want to diminish the shine.
Okay, I think this needs to go slightly higher. Okay.
Now that that's on, I am going to take that brush that I used for Merry Men. Just in the crease here, I'm going to start to go back and forth. I do not want that harsh line there. Gonna dab my brush into that Buzz Off shade. There we go. That helped so much in diffusing that harsh line. I don't know, it looks better in person to me, but maybe my camera is picking up something that I'm not. Picking up my flat shader brush again. Just gonna tap more of the shade on this eye to hopefully get them to match up. I think that was it. Yeah. Back in with my blending brush. I'm gonna clean off that blending brush and dip twice into the Merry Men shade, tap it onto my outer V, and then just blend back and forth right there. Okay. Alrighty, So, beauties, this is the shade Buzz Off. I don't really know if you're going to be able to see it, but I am glad all this sparkle showing up. It is a very beautiful shimmer.
But I don't like how you can see these harsh lines at all. I think they're hideous.
Definitely not my best look, but it is not terrible. I am really happy that I am not just seeing a matte black with shimmer that's gonna blend right out of it. So for the last part of the look before I jump into doing the face, I'm gonna take this Glaminatrix shadow called Hopping, and that will be my inner corner and possibly my brow bone highlight. I'm gonna take this Zorea brush. Not gonna apply it wet just yet. I am tapping it first onto the rest of my lid before I drag it into my inner corner. I do think that's pretty, but I am who I am. So I'm probably going to add something else on top of this. I'm going to take that brush that I applied Buzz Off with just to blend a little bit on the lid. That is what we do have so far. I am liking how this came out. Like I said, it's not my best, but it's not my worst. I think I'm going to go ahead and pop off and get my face on, and then I'll come back to do the lower lash line, probably add something else to the inner corner, and then, oh, before I do pop off, let me get something on my brow bone. I think I'm just going to take that Hopping shade, and that will be what I pop on my brow bone. I'm going to pop off, get my face on, and when I come back, we will wrap up the lower lash line and the inner corner and give you my final thoughts on this palette first impression. Jumping right into completing my beat, I want to use The Grinch Stole My Money from Touch of Glam Beauty as the inner corner highlight on top of Hopping, and I'm just going to use that same brush to apply that to my inner corners. I do also pop this just in the very front of my brow bone highlight, and then I do end up topping off my face highlight with this as well. For my foundation, I used the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation, and I mixed the shades F1 and F5. I took those and mixed that with LA Girl Pro Color Foundation Mixing Pigment in the shade Blue to neutralize it a little bit. But as you can kind of tell, this is a little bit too light for me, but it does end up matching my chest, which is always fun. Anyway, I do end up giving this a little bit more depth with my contour and bronzer later. Just blending out the foundation with my Flower Beauty sponge. I did not film me priming, but I did prime my face with the Wander Beauty Glow Ahead Face Oil and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I mainly stick the face oil on my highlighting points or areas where I get really dry, and then the Poreless Putty Primer where my pores are most visible. For concealer, I'm starting with the Pretty Vulgar Undercover Concealer in the shade Little White Lies. That's being blended out under my eyes. Next, just because it's my favorite concealer, I'm going to use the NYX HD Photogenic Studio Concealer in the shade CW01 for the lower half of my face. The next thing I'm going to grab is just an unmentionable liquid lipstick that I'm going to use for cream contour, and I'm just going to take that on the butt end of my little beauty sponge here that I bought off She Glam and start to contour like I would regularly around my face, the perimeter of my forehead, and then you'll see I forget my jawline, but I do come back to it. And just starting to use that as well on my nose for contour. Next, I'm going to take the She Glam Blush and Dewy highlighter and blush sticks in Risky Business, the light pink shade, and Bon Voyage, the deeper pink shade, and use those as my cream blush. And I'm warming those up on the back of my hand before I take this little Real Technique sponge and blend those up onto my cheeks and into my temples. Now just taking the other end of those blush and highlighter sticks, I'm going to use the highlighter shade, which is the same on both of them, and just use that as a base cream highlighter. And just catching up my jawline because I did realize that I forgot to contour. Now just setting everything with my Physicians Formula mixed with my e.l.f. setting powder. For contour, I'm going to use this brush that I bought off of Amazon randomly, and I'm going to take my Cover FX face palette and just use that contour shade to get that sculpt going on. Liking where that's at, I'm going to take this Alamar Cosmetics brush that I got in a trio set when I had a BoxyCharm subscription, and that is what I'm going to use to contour my nose with that same contour shade from the palette. Now diving into bronzer, I'm going to use my e.l.f. bronzer palette, and I'm just going to take my brush into all four of them and use that to bronze up my face. And I'm using the contour brush that I got in the Zoria set from Amazon. And I do like to just sweep it down around my mouth and jawline just to connect everything together and over my nose. And on my ears just to bring some color to them. Now Royal Flush from the Trixie Mattel X Sugarpill Oh Honey 2 palette. This will be my blush and sort of blush lighter. It is so beautiful and so blendable, but like I said, if you don't like a shiny blush, you probably won't like this, but I love it. Back into the Cover FX face palette, I'm going to take the Brightener shade and use that as a second highlight. I don't know what this is supposed to brighten, but when I used it as a highlighter, I was amazed and I loved it. So I'm probably going to be doing this a lot more often. And for this, I'm using a Luxie Beauty blending brush that I got in another BoxyCharm trio set. Just cleaning up all my contour and blush. I'm also going to clean up my nose contour with this sponge as well that I got in like a pack of sponges that you can pretty much get at any general store. And just taking a big fluffy powder brush to wipe all that excess powder off. I let that sit for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Using the Pat McGrath Labs mascara, my NYX brow pencil in brown, and then my She Glam brow gel, and that is basically my brow routine. Okay, beauty, so this is the final look that I've done using the Oh Honey Part 2 palette from Trixie Mattel and Sugarpill. I am going to pop on the lip gloss just as the final touch. I did put this She Glam Melon Magic tinted lip balm in the shade Bougie on. That was just to give my lips some moisture.
This is going to be the... smells so good. I have no idea what it smells like, but it's delicious. Perfect.
Beauty, so that is the final finished look, and I've used everything in the palette, including the lip gloss that came with the bundle. I did want to say that the blush shade in here is beautiful. It is stunningly shiny. I would say if you don't like a shiny blush, you will not like this, but there's definitely more than one highlighter going on, but I love this blush, and the first blush is one of my favorites, so definitely happy to add this to my blush collection. Now, going into the eyeshadow palette, I will say that I really enjoyed the mattes. All three of them are super buildable, but they give you that color payoff on first application. Blendable. I really loved this gold. The purple was okay. I really wanted some more sparkle. It's more of just a flat metallic, but it does have a fun pink shift in it. And then the black that I used in this look, I really do love how the shine is staying there, that sparkle's not going anywhere. Like I said, I really do think that the glitter glue that I used was beneficial in keeping that sparkle. I don't know if this is one of those matte shades that's going to blend out. I do think that if you apply this shade, no matter what, if you've put down a glitter base or if you've just used eyeshadow primer, or even if you've used nothing to prime, I do think that you're going to get that black base pigment showing up the most, but you will still have sparkle in there. But overall, like I said, I am super happy that I picked this up. I knew when I first saw it being launched that I had to grab it because I loved the first collection so much. If you haven't already, I would definitely go check it out if this is something you're interested in. I do know that it is limited edition. I'm not sure if it's just the, what is this called? I'm not sure if it's just the bundle that's limited edition, this box that came with the palette and the lip gloss, or if the entire collection itself is limited edition like the first one was. But Sugarpill is pretty straightforward and honest and upfront, saying this is going to be limited edition, and once it sells out, they might have one or maybe two restocks, 3 if they're really getting sales in from it. But other than that, once it's out, they pretty much won't bring it back. So if you are interested in it, I would definitely go check it out and grab yours while you can. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for staying and checking out this video with me. I really do hope that you enjoyed watching me create these looks and use this palette. And yeah, thank you so much, beauties. Again, if you haven't already, I would love if you would like, comment, and subscribe down below. I appreciate all your love and support as always. And until the next video, you guys, have a great night or day wherever you are. Just stay safe and stay beautiful. The next shade we'll do is the, I just stuck my finger into Drip Drip again. I'm so sorry. I did not expect to like that shade that much. Oh, okay, Miss Buzzwuff. I'm going to take this pointed fluffing blend. I hope you guys can't hear my tummy rumbling. I think I got something in there. Okay.